So this is something that I wished I would have known prior to starting Random League. And if you haven't done your battles yet, or if you are looking to try a different deck, I think that this is the best variant of the Scrapper, Night Statue, Harley Quinn, Trapper decks. So earlier today I posted, or I guess I'm going to post this tomorrow. So yesterday, I posted a absolute best meta top 5. It was just supposed to be a funny video. I hope you guys understood the humor. If you didn't, I'll explain it here. I feel like a lot of people were going around telling everybody that the best meta deck is the Tesla Scrapper Harley Quinn Night Statue Trapper deck. Or if you're feeling really, really cool, like the Spirit Master Scrapper Night Statue Harley Quinn Trapper deck. Or the Bruiser Scrapper Night Statue Harley Quinn Trapper deck. Or the Blade Dancer Scrapper Night Statue Harley Quinn Trapper deck. And that was my entire joke on what that was. That everybody is just like trying to promote the one deck because it's very good. And if you didn't understand, you're basically running it the exact same way. This is the Scrapper meta that we are in, that I always talk about, because every deck just looks like this. And it's because it's utilizing a lot of different mechanics that all work very well together and are just these are like the most powerful support cards right now. Scrapper with the Scrap-em-all, just giving your entire field 30%, and the consistency of promotion by merit. Night Statue with the Covenant of Veteran, stacks, and the barrier allowing you to get free protection. So from red guys, from warlocks, from just anything. The Harley Quinn, if you have the second talent, you're getting an automatic 10% for forever, basically. Stage objective you're almost never going to use, but if it happens, that's an extra 10% as well. And then Trapper, obviously, the armor destruction and the slow. The slow is not to be underlooked. I do believe that you will win a lot of battles if you can slow and your opponent cannot. If your opponent isn't running Trapper and both of you get bedlamed and you bedlam into a lot of Trappers and you are able to slow a double boss, you will win. I lost multiple games because I didn't have slow. And so that is another reason why this deck is good. But in the joke of the Bruiser, or do you use Bruiser or Tesla or Spirit Master or Blade Dancer, or any other variation that you decide to slot into this singular slot. I think those are the best ones, but they're of them, what is the best one? And I believe that what is the best one is the Bruiser variant. I believe that the double, assuming that you're going to do a double T setup, and I will go into gameplay of this, obviously, but assuming that you were going to do a double T setup with the three on the left, 3 on the right, and the center one between the 2 Night Statues being a Scrapper, so that you can acquire double stacks on both Night Statues. If you do that setup, and you are running Blade Dancer, you are down 1 Blade Dancer. You could choose to not do that setup and just set up the 3 on the left, the 3 on the right, and the 1 in the center and have 7 Blade Dancers, giving yourself max damage. But the problem with that is you won't get a lot of Night Statue stacks. And so if you run the Tesla variant, the best version of this is going to be the Professor and Supercharge. If you are running this variant, not only is one of your spots going towards a Professor, but if you decide to run the same exact setup, the 3 on the left, 3 on the right, so that you can get double stacks on both of your Night Statues, you're running into a separate problem, which is the Tesla mechanic. The Tesla mechanic, you have to charge them, so you will be doing useless merges where your Teslas are just to keep them charged. If they downrank, then you're going to have to charge them again, and that just becomes an extra thing that you have to do. If you run the Spirit Master variant, you're basically in the same position where it's okay if you run the 3 on the left, 3 on the right, but the problem with Spirit Master is essentially the mechanic. Storm Power. You have to keep sinking mana into Spirit Master. You are using Elixir of Purification with the Storm Power, but you do lose a lot of the PvP damage because you don't have Stone Power. It is fine, but my problem with it is that if you want to scrapper, you have to scrapper as well as keep mana available for the Spirit Master power, and you can't do both. At a certain point, it's difficult to summon in, to keep summoning in, and to keep upgrading your Spirit Master so that it's constantly being able to attack at its best. And so it becomes a resource management problem. The reason why I like the Bruiser setup, and Bruiser, it's going to be Furious Brotherhood on my treat. Essentially, when you do run the 3 on the left, 3 on the right, you have the ability to do that without having the Blade Dancer mechanic of, oh, if I had a 7th Bruiser, I would be at max damage. They're always going to be at max damage. The other thing is that because it's you're using Furious Brotherhood, and they buffed Furious Brotherhood, every time you collect a Clover, which is every time a Bruiser gets 4. Whenever you eat a Bruiser with a Scrapper, 3 random Bruisers get a Clover. Once a Bruiser gets 4 Clovers, you get 10%, a 10% increase in damage. This seems difficult because you are running 6. You're going to be running 3 on the left, 3 on the right. It's actually not as difficult as you'd think. Also, I do think that the Knight Statue Covenant of Veteran is much better than Sharpened Spear. I saw some Sharpened Spear variations, and it made me think, are the stacks on a Sharpened Spear more than the bonus? Is the bonus more than Covenant of Veteran? 0.8% up to 50 times, and then 0.2%. Sharpened Spear is 0.8% up to 50 times, and then 0.2%. They are literally the exact same thing. So because you have the ability to double stack 2 Knight Statues, if you do the double T setup, you are able to constantly feed into the Knight Statue, into both Knight Statues that are going onto both of your Bruisers. As you continuously summon in to try to get more Scrappers in order to feed into the double Knight Statue stacks, you are also summoning into other Bruisers, which, as you eat them, will not only boost your Bruisers and your Knight Statue, but it will also it'll also give you Clovers. So the Scrapper it's feeding into your Scrapper so that your Bruisers and your Knight Statues upgrade, but it's also feeding into Clovers. So you're doing just so many multiple things at the same time, and there's no resource management. You're just eating things. You're just eating Bruisers as you summon in, and then every time you summon in a Scrapper, because you are using the consistency of promotion by merit, essentially, you're able to automatically guarantee yourself a level 2 Scrapper that you then just level down, and then you level up, and then you level down, and you get infinite Knight Statue stacks as well as infinite Bruiser stacks every single time you summon in a Bruiser. The other thing that I want to note is that you are running Mermaid. I was running Spear. If you want to run Crit Bow, I could see that. I was doing Mage Robe and Amulet of Growth. Amulet of Growth is a nice bonus. I don't necessarily think that it matters as much as you might think. And I'm going to choose the last match that I did to get my 10th win. And I don't know, I really liked it. I thought it was really good. I was like, why don't any of these look like my battles? Because they're not my battles. Because my battles are over here. Somewhere. This is the battle I'm showing you. It's the one against Demon Hunter. The battle that I did before that was against a wacky Riding Hood deck with both Priestess and Cauldron. Didn't think it would go this far, but I actually did 180 million damage. The one that I'm going to show you is less, but I think it's a better example of what this deck can do. Right off the bat, I had very awkward growth tile placements, and I didn't want to do the 3-2-3 setup, which is what that would what that would make me force me to do. And I would be able to use all of I would be able to use all the growth tiles, but I wouldn't be able to do double Knight Statue sacks, and that was more important to me. So I foregoed any of my growth tiles, and so I don't get that bonus, but what I end up doing is pretty reasonable damage. And the other thing that I want to note is that, you could take out Harlequin and go double support card for more damage. You can substitute it for a sharpshooter. You can substitute for a chemist. I don't think it's the way to go. I do think I do like the consistency of Harlequin being able to slot things into place. You can get so right here I have a level 2 Harlequin to my left. Obviously, all I want is a level 2 Bruiser somewhere. And so I merge those two, I get another level 2 Harlequin. It's very awkward. But once I get a level 2 Bruiser, I'm able to automatically slot both of those into place, and then continue my day. Right there, I really lucked out on the the level 3 Bruiser on the top. I had the level 3 Scrapper ready to go in case that became something bad, like a Knight Statue. But because it became that became easy. The level 3 on the left, that was also really good because then I could just copy. And being able to slot things into place very early on allows you to every single time you do a Scrapper hit, it hits something that you want to keep there for the rest of the game. The earlier you can set up, the better. The only other thing of note that I want to tell you, this credit to Small Shamer, Trapper, if you are running Trapper in your deck, you do not need Trapper before double bosses. There is no actual beneficial reason to have a Trapper in the beginning, because your DPS card should be murdering the beginning. You shouldn't need to slow down the field for any reason. The amount of trappers that you have on the field in the beginning are just extra things that your Scrapper could potentially hit. And if you get a level 7 Trapper, yes, it is slightly better than a level 1 Trapper, but no, the traps that it puts onto the field, even though a level 7 Trapper would probably throw more onto the field, it actually doesn't matter. And I'd rather have very late game 3 Trappers on the field, because they will throw enough traps on the field, because the traps on the field do not grow with your with your Trapper obtaining levels. It just throws them faster. And so there's no actual reason to have a Trapper before double bosses. Some might even say triple bosses, but for the purposes of Random League, double bosses is where most of your games will end. It's kind of like Royal Trials in that way. Because the crit percentage is a specific amount, there's only so much damage that you can push. And so the longer that you can wait on Trappers, the better. But essentially, this is the setup. It's the 3 on the left, the 3 on the right. You're getting double stacks with the Scrapper in the center. Every time you eat a Bruiser, 3 random things are getting clovers. You might think to yourself, why don't I just run 3 Bruisers? So then every Bruiser that I get, the 3 Bruisers will get clovers, and you'll get clovers faster. The problem that I see with that is that because of Bruiser's mechanic of falling asleep, what will happen is all 3 will fall asleep, and the wave will catch up to you. And sometimes if you can't murder down the wave like very quickly, then the boss is just gonna hit you. And so what I found is that it actually, if you have 3 and 3, not only are you boosting all of your Bruisers, but you also have a team of Bruisers that will not it'll be like like maybe 3 of your bruisers will go like crazy and then they'll fall asleep, and then the other 3 bruisers will go crazy and then they'll fall asleep, and then the first team will wake up, and then it keeps kind of bouncing back and forth like that. You rarely get to a point where all 6 of them are attacking and then they all fall asleep, but when you run less, it's more likely that that will happen. And so because you're trying to play the long game, even having 6 is fine. And eventually you will get all of those. You're scrappering so much that you will be fine. Another thing to note, if you are given the mana modifier, or the potion, the what's it called, like the clan tournament things, if the duck offers you the mana one, take it and immediately use it. You run through so much mana in this deck. But yeah, I'll stop talking, and I'll let you enjoy the rest of this video.